Well, we're live. Let me go ahead and share the link. But I was, what was I saying? I already forgot.
Basically saying how you like
Oh, yeah. I
work
have a realist slash
pessimist.
partially cynical perspective on life because people will let you down, but that's only because people will let themselves down, including me. Like I let myself down, and it's okay. My point is it's okay to let yourself down, but to not expect the best from people because I mean, most people want the best, but aren't doing their best in most situations. Like, and there's many reasons why, because life is hard. That's what I always tell people. Like, life is hard. I don't expect a lot from people these days because life in America, especially, that's all I can
Mhm.
speak about. But life's hard, man. But just to exist is difficult. So like, I just give people as much grace as I can, and I don't expect a whole lot. So that's why when people do above the average, I'm like, I noticed that's like that's all it takes. And I've noticed that in most of my experiences, especially recently, is that you don't have to be the best. You just have to be someone that puts the effort in on a consistent basis and you'll stand out. And you have to be authentic too. There's a lot more to that. I'm being very general, but
I want you. I'm with you, but I want you for anybody watching to define what the effort means.
what do you mean what do you mean the
You say
effort?
like put the effort in.
Oh, so in any endeavor, so like it doesn't need to be anything specific, but let's just say that you're trying to be the best cook you can be, as long as you're consistent and working on improving and not sticking with status quo, then you'll stand out as a cook or
Mhm.
whatever it is. Like if you want to be a professional speller, just like learn all the best words. Get better at your craft on purpose. That's a better way to put it instead of the effort. If you live life on purpose and are doing your best consistently, then you'll be able to achieve more than you think you can, honestly.
It's interesting that okay. You know what I've noticed about us? We always seem to be on somewhat of the same page, just different sides of the same coin. It's almost
I
like
love it.
because you definitely do have, and I fully understand why, a little bit more of a pessimistic way of looking at things than me, which
Oh,
is
for
fine,
sure. Yeah,
right?
I'm the dark. Yeah.
But that being said, I like came to the which one is dark, yin or yang?
I was literally about to just look that up because I think it's Yang.
Okay, so I came to the yin version of what you just said, basically.
All right, let's hear
Um,
it.
basically, in a short sense, you have to both apply what you're good at in the moment and apply it in improving upon it.
What do you mean by in the moment?
So I think an even simpler way to put it would be like understand what you got right now,
Mm,
use it, but also use it to improve upon it.
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're arriving at the same thing.
Yeah. The rough part for a lot of people is understanding where they are right now and then not being discouraged.
Mm, yeah. That's an ego thing I've found for the most part, and also a self confidence, self esteem types thing. Because when you're confident in yourself. But actually, let me take a step back. That actually breeds confidence. When you know who you are, that's where the confidence comes from. Because if you're not confident in who you are and you also don't know who you are, then it's easy for you to be influenced by other people, and
Hmm.
it's easy to seem like you're really not authentic. But when you are okay with who you are. So for example, some people may think it's nerdy to collect Pokemon cards, and that's fine. But I collect Pokemon cards, and I'm very like I lean into that. I make it part of my brand. Whereas some people might find something that they enjoy more of a guilty pleasure than it is part of who they are. And I'm using activities. I mean, who you are is more than just what you do. It's your attitude on life, it's your perspective, it's your experiences, it's your skills, your gifts, and all that put together. But yeah, I don't even know where I was going with that.
It's funny when you do that. Um, No, I definitely agree with that part. I feel like, on a more general sense, like I'm trying to find like the simple words to put this. Um, I think finding yourself or knowing who you are doesn't necessarily breed, in my opinion, traditional confidence more so than self-esteem.
Mm.
I think confidence comes from having enough self-esteem to get good at something when you know you suck at it.
What about the people that are really bad at it but have a hella confidence while they're doing it?
That's really high self-esteem, in my opinion. I would just call it different.
Okay. All right. What
Uh,
separates confidence and self-esteem?
I think confidence is earned. Like, we have confidence in what we are and what we do. I think even if you say you have confidence in yourself, it's because you have done something.
Okay.
Like, even if I'm confident in myself because I made money. Okay, I went and made that. I'm confident in myself because I worked out. I worked out. You know, it's like I improved upon something, and now
Okay.
I'm confident. I think self-esteem is where it begins. Self-esteem is like the catalyst that says, "Oh, I actually suck right now, but I have a lot of potential. I'm still him.
Mm.
Let me improve." And then you go ahead and build that confidence on top of that. It took me a long time to understand that because I was like, as a young kid, I was thrust into sports before I fucking knew anything about who I was and all this good shit. So I started improving upon something right away, built a lot of confidence. I got really good, but I never understood the importance of actually loving myself and what I was doing. You get what I'm saying?
I mean, that's every child. I feel we're just kind of trying to
Yeah.
figure it out, and we get pushed into things. I think that's the best thing for parents to do because, like you just said, it built confidence in something because you don't know who you
Right.
are at that age. You're just figuring it out. So
We all figure out what we are before we figure out who we are.
yeah, we had a similar conversation in the last stream, which is so funny that they always kind of coincide with each other.
I know.
Ah, what
But
happened? Get away.
um but I think, like, everything starts there, especially for me. As far as this year, my biggest lesson has been putting potential first, because I've noticed I've gone through notches of improvement, and each time I do, I hit this. And even the more I think about it, the more it's clicking in my head, like right now. It's crazy. But every time I hit like this, I break through the plateau. It's like, okay, so pretend there's like an upwards line
Yeah.
going up, right? And then there's the plateau, and then the line continues up here, and then there's another plateau, the line continues, another plateau, right? When you're going up towards this one, you can't see what's above it, but you're aiming towards it,
Yeah.
right? Finally, when you hit it, you get right there. Then you're at the bottom again, so you are forced to look up here and say, okay, now I know I can be here. I'm seeing myself up here. Why am I not there? That each one of those is where you need self-esteem. Then this is building confidence. When I'm right here, I'm really confident. Then not so
Wow.
confident.
Okay. That's a
Yeah.
good way to.
Now,
I like that.
to somebody who doesn't do that, even if you're right here, you're gonna look incredible to this person, but you might feel like, no, what the fuck you mean I'm incredible? I need to be here. You know what I'm saying?
Interesting. Yeah, no,
That's how I'm
I
looking.
definitely agree with that. It's so your analogy of it is pretty similar to how I describe it verbally in terms of
Mm-hmm.
resistance and leveling up. So for me, I think that when you learn a a good amount and have built habits around the current lifestyle that you live, so
Okay.
it's no longer challenging and you're kind of going through the motions at this point,
Yeah.
then either A, if you're a apathetic and or someone who's complacent, that's where you'll stay, and that's totally fine. I don't judge that. That's what some people do. But then the
Uh,
people that want to go above that hit resistance. That's that level that you're talking about when you're describing it for me. You hit this resistance, and it's what drives people away from their goals and dreams and what they desire, because it gets really hard to achieve. And call it the devil, call it resistance, whatever you want to call it, the energy that you need to push through it, those times are where you find a what you're made of, so to speak, and also what you're capable of in order to level up. So you hit that resistance, and just like a workout, you are leveling up. You're putting on more weight. You're tearing your muscle more, and you're breaking through. And then when you break through, you're sore, right? You're mentally sore. You're emotionally sore. Whatever tax that you had to pay to get
mhm.
through that level, and now, like you said, you're at the bottom again, but you have that badge or that experience, that scar that
Right.
gives you the confidence, and then that allows you to then in turn have the self-esteem to continue beyond, because you can look back and go, no, I did this, I've come this far, and I may be
Hmm.
at the bottom here, but that
Hmm.
doesn't discredit what I've done over there or what I've done down there.
Right. Right. Especially, this is the thing. This is why I think self esteem is so important. Because when you're starting off, you don't have a oh I've done this in your head already.
Mm.
So you have to kind of like purely believe in yourself based off of who you are. You
Mm-hmm.
have no what you are yet. You haven't done any what's yet. You know. So there's the that's what's hardest for me and what I'm really happy to say I'm getting better at. But like standing in the face of having no experience, no prior knowledge, no anything, but just really wanting to do something
Mm.
and going for it head first because you just believe in your ability to get there. You know, I think everybody's ability in that sense may be different based on who you are and what your circumstances may have been. So, for example, like I have more desire to do something like that when the incentive is creative versus learning how to forex trade. You know,
Mm-hmm.
both might be extremely valuable to me as a person, but one is just more justifiable in my head because of who I am, because of who I know I am as a creative and the things that influence me. Um, I couldn't really thrust myself into something. I don't think and feel that level of rookiness if I didn't care to be a senior in it. Like I don't want to be a freshman if I don't care about being a senior.
So you would say that you're more. I'm trying to think of, because in my head I want to relate it to being outcome for outcome focused versus process focused, and it almost seems like I'm having a hard time. So maybe that's not even a good relation. But I feel like when you oh yeah, wrong analogy. It's kind of like when you put a ladder against a house and you don't really pay attention to where the ladder goes to, and then you climb all the way up and you realize you don't even want to be on that ladder anymore.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's you put it on the wrong house is what happened, and then you get up to the top and you're like, damn it, now I gotta climb down and do it all over again. But I think
That's
that
exactly that's a great analogy.
if you don't look at the lifestyle of the people that are seniors, and think to yourself, I want some piece of that, then it doesn't make sense to go through the pain or whatever challenges that you'll face to get some sort of gain. So unless it's, I don't know, It's a trade-off though, because you could learn a lot from becoming a junior and learning through the grit and then just leaving halfway through.
Mm.
So for me, I can relate that back to sales. I did sales for a short period of time, but that short period of time gave me the mental and emotional tenacity to go through rejection as an artist. So it's almost necessary to go through a little bit of the, oh, I hate this, because it makes you stronger when you're actually in your craft versus if you're like, well, I don't want to do forex trading. We'll use that example, but you end up needing it for the course that you end up teaching as a entrepreneur specialist or something, let's say, not you special, but we'll just say like that example. So I think that I agree with you that it doesn't make sense to put a whole bunch of work in and become a senior in something, or become a junior something in something, if you don't want to become a senior in something. However, I'd almost argue that obviously situational and dependent upon what the activity is, it's almost worth at least becoming a junior to find out if you truly don't like it. Because how do
I
you
think
know if you don't like it if you haven't tried it?
maybe a sophomore,
Huh?
but maybe a sophomore,
A softball?
but sophomore.
Sophomore. There you go. Okay, I thought you said a softball. I was like, a softball? Where are we going with this?
No, I equate that to like my poker chip. I love the analogies we do, bro. It's just like it's fucking hours of analogies. Um, I have the poker chip analogy where like you're putting your poker chip down on a thing and see what doubles back for you, and that's kind of how you determine what's meant for you in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, your poker chips come from the amount of love you have to give, and that starts with loving yourself. If you don't have any self-love, then you can't really give any poker chips away to the extent that you need to, because you need to have the bank first. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
For me, like the forex versus what I'm doing thing, if we're gonna stick with that, the reasoning there is like, one is valuable to we'll call it my mind and body. So like my physical plane. If I do forex and I stick with it, there's no creativity really involved in it. You build your pattern, you stick to your pattern through adversity, you stick to your pattern, you keep sticking to your pattern. You finally start making some money, you're making a little bit more money, the chart swings up, you keep making a little bit more money, you buy a house, you buy a car, you're set. Forex. Now, that's cool. To me, what's more important slightly than the mind and body is the soul and spirit. And what helps and aids and adds to my soul and spirit is being creative, because that is who I am underneath this sack
Right.
of flesh, right? So if I spend the majority of my time or more, you know, if I lay a poker chip down in forex and I'm not getting back what I should, because I won't, because I'm creatively oriented. I already
Right.
know I
Yeah.
won't. You know,
It's not gonna click for you as it would if you
right?
were into the numbers.
So I might get there, but
Oh,
I'd
you
be doing what's
would.
not meant to me, or I also be wasting my time here
There you go.
on you know what I
Yeah.
mean. That's the
That's the
worst thing
biggest
to me,
cost, honestly.
right? And you know, especially now at this point in my life, um, it's weird. I like this one Gary V quote plays in my head. I heard him say this like 3 years ago, but I just remember it. It's not even a quote. He just said it in like a random video clip. But he's like, he was talking to some person. He's like, "You're 22. You should be trying to be Beyonce." I was like, "All right." I feel
That's good advice. That's really good
yeah.
advice.
Like, I'm not trying to just do enough right now. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to set my shit up. Right? I'm trying to
No,
be
man, you gotta be jumping off cliffs. You gotta be building rockets and doing
right.
crazy stuff. It doesn't make. I love that. That's where you're what you latched onto from him, because oftentimes I see people like your age and around that age is just like, oh, he said this, I'm gonna learn how to make money, blah blah blah. But it's not even about that. It's so much more than that. It's just about taking risks and having fun while you're doing it, and knowing that you really can, especially now, do anything and become anything because of the internet and because of how many people are in this world. It's insane. You just have to apply
It's
yourself.
like there's a statistic I learned in statistics class, interestingly enough. So the guy called it, my professor called it like the Thanos theory, right? So Thanos wanted to snap half the world away because there's no resources and there's not enough shit for everybody. But that is, so there's an ancient like philosopher who agreed with Thanos. I forget the guy's name, but he essentially was like, I think it was in the early 1700s. There were a lot of writings that were basically saying like, when we hit X amount of population in the Earth, there won't be enough resources to go around. We're gonna be done for, yada yada yada. The world's gonna be over in 1790, some bullshit like that, right?
Okay.
And everybody thought he was right till 91. The reason being, a thing called human capital proved to be more important. I assume, do you know what that is or no?
No, I don't. I mean, maybe if
Well,
you say it and I don't know what it's called, I'm about to look it up, but you
probably
can
tell
tell
me
me.
really quickly, but like human capital is essentially the value of people as a whole, the value that people add to a society.
Hmm.
There is your builder, there is your architect, there is your
Oh,
web designer.
yeah, yeah.
Like, so the more people there are, the more minds there are at solving the problem of there being less resources, which ended up overpowering the fact that there were actually less resources and people found a way to cultivate more. So if you look at a population chart, it kind of goes like this from literally from 0 AD through now. Like if there are axes, hold on. We go like boom, right? So this is the bottom of the chart, just goes up, right?
Okay.
It goes like this, goes like that. It's like literally like a long ass time where there's like the same amount of people on Earth and it
Yeah.
pops up, right? All because somebody figured out how to build buildings or some bullshit. Like somebody figured out how to do something that was never done before. I think it started off with the Industrial Revolution, and just shit started happening. You know what I mean? And there was enough happening to feed people. It's as simple as that. I don't know where I was going with that.
I said that there was. I'm showing it now for the people on stream. I'm trying to anyway. It's not working, but it's okay. There it is. So yeah, the world population goes. I can share my screen with you actually, so you can
I
enjoy.
can't see it, by the way.
No, I know. I'm sharing it with you right now. There you go.
There we go.
So yeah,
Yeah,
it's just as you said. There you go. Okay.
crazy.
Insanity. But yeah, I I think that what you're saying in terms of it, people just figuring it out, and there's a lot more than just.
I'm sorry, 1 second. The fact that we grew from 2 to 9 or 2 to 8 in 100 years.
27 to 24. Yeah, 2 to 8, so 6 billion.
What the fuck?
Well,
All right.
I feel like, oh, see, this is a prediction. However, whoever wrote this, I don't think that they're taking into account that people are not. One of these days, you're going to turn that on silent.
It's okay. All right.
You're ruining my clips, dog. I'm kidding, but not really. The thing is that they're not anticipating any sort of drop off, and I think there is. I think that there's already been a statistic that said that this was the first year where we have declined in new births because people just aren't having kids. There's just no reason to.
I mean, I have heard that a lot, which is
I mean,
weird.
do you want kids?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
That's you're so hopeful, and that's the difference between you and me. I no. I see. First off, fuck them kids. They're gonna annoy the shit out of me, and I have zero tolerance for anything, much less. Secondly, I don't know, man. I just can't imagine bringing a child into this world because this world is a scary place, and I know what I went through. And also, I like time and money. And if you have children, you just can't use that stuff like you used to.
You're not lying.
You can't buy I mean, you can, but then you're just irresponsible. So like if it comes down to going out to nice dinners, going on cruises, that's the other thing too. Like taking kids anywhere is a pain. Anyway,
I I don't know. I'm just
you're hopeful, you're optimistic. You're excited to
I'm
bring life
I'm
into this world.
yeah, that is a thing. Yeah. I'm also selfishly like big on lineage. Like I just
Oh,
want the
all
family.
that jazz. Yeah. That's why I got into music so that I could have something. My legacy is my music so that I don't have to
Yeah, there
have
you go.
kids.
It's funny, but I understand it.
It's
I
Rooks
feel like
music,
yeah,
my
that's
friend.
the whole. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that like, well, the kids thing not so much, but the legacy idea in general has a lot to do with my mom because she's so like I might be using this word wrong. What does the word enigmatic mean?
Oh my god, I don't know.
Okay,
I'm gonna look it up though. Difficult to interpret or understand,
not quite. Okay. Um.
like an enigma.
Okay. So not an enigma. She is
Anomaly. I think that's what you're looking for.
no. She leaves an impression on everybody she meets, no matter who or why or for how long they spoke. She just has a reputation for leaving an impression. Even those who don't know her know that when they meet her, it will be special because
Are you
she's
trying to
famous
say
for.
empath?
No, no. She is an empath, but no. Um, I don't know the word for that.
Well,
There might not be a
now
word.
I'm hung up on the word. I want to. Anyway, continue.
I mean,
Sorry.
basically like a just a not physically, but a big person. Like she fills the room and leaves herself there. She leaves an impression on anybody. Like she wrote this is an example to describe the type of person I'm talking about. Like you know the play Hamilton.
Do I know of it, and I don't think I've seen it.
Okay.
Oh, I found your word by the way. It's charismatic.
I mean yes, but okay. You can be charismatic and forgotten though.
Can you though?
Yeah.
How? How? I'm.
I I'm let's ask the females.
Oh, okay. That's
I
fair.
mean,
That's fair. Okay. Well, maybe that's not the right word, but I get what you're saying. But now I really want to know what it's called. Oh, it's pissed me off. Anyway.
she wrote a letter to the cast, and they get millions of letters. Her letter got posted up back there, and they read it every day before they went out and did the show.
Yo, what? That's insane. Are you talking about the one on Broadway?
Yeah, on Broadway, that type of person. That was my mother. Like,
Wow. Okay. I mean, that makes sense. I'm not surprised that you came from somebody like that.
thank you. That means a lot. Um, but yeah, man. So that's like the. I don't want to force it. That's big. That was a big thing when I was younger too. I felt the need to like. I'm scared to leave. I'm scared to go anywhere. I'm scared to die. Like I was terrified of death
Hmm.
because I'm like, if I die before I leave the impression that Eden's son deserves, then like I fucked up, you know. But now I'm better on like not feeling like I need to force it, but more so just anything I do being as me as I possibly can be, you know, because nobody else can do that,
Hmm.
and I feel like that is what leaves the biggest impression. So as many kids as I can bring into this world, it's gonna be a whole bunch of little me's running around. Yeah.
I'm here for it. I'm excited for you. I love when other people are excited to have kids because I can just cheer them on and be excited for you, and it's great. So I'll just leave it at that. We'll just stop there.
I respect. I respect.
Yeah.
But no time, no time. Well, I don't want to. I want to. I might become a billionaire tomorrow. Who knows? No time until I can afford the life that I assume I would like to give my kids. So not tomorrow. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So I feel like while you were talking and I was kind of like piecing it together in my head, I feel like there's your perspective. Well, since your perspective is shaped so much by your experience, it's interesting to hear the type of person that you spent time around as a child and came from because it's it definitely has shaped your perspective in a good way. So I'd say that a lot that I'd say that her impression on you specifically is even more apparent than it would be through like anyone else. It's in other words, like I said, like it makes sense that that's the type of person that you came from, but also it's very cool to see the perspective because looking back at like my life in that same regard, my mom is the reason that I'm so compassionate and caring.
Mm.
I, however, gave my poker chips to the wrong people. And that's why I'm so cynical and somewhat pessimistic at times because I've been burned so many times. And that's
Mm.
the older I get, the more I realize that it's just as much my responsibility to choose the people that I give love to that as it is for the people that I give love to reciprocate.
Yeah, totally.
It's I kind of loved with my all and gave it my all and put myself out there so many times because that's what they say to do. And I don't mean
Right.
just with love, like with relation. I mean with business relationships, with
Everything.
friendships, with my relationship with my parents, relationships with substances, all that stuff. It's
Right.
yeah, it's
You know what's interesting? I believe me, I get it. Um, was raised by the person, by my mom, but I think the reason I had a little bit of what you're talking about, but the reason I think I was able to head it off in the way that I was so early is because my dad was very much he wasn't an uncompassionate or uncaring or unloving person, but he was very much a saver by nature. Come from hardworking, poor parents, went to college, made it out
mm,
with the rest of his, younger, like with the rest of his siblings. All his siblings are doing well. His parents stayed factory workers their whole life. Like they have a different perspective on what hard work and saving your money and stability are.
mm,
So even though he was able to, he was lucky in that he found my mother and was able to give that love and be received in the right way. So he had enough compassion to have understanding, but by nature he was the saver. He was the no, we're retaining poker chips. Why are you giving one over there? Let's break
mm.
it down. What's the reasoning? Give me a 5-page essay. Let's do an analysis. Let's make a chart. Why are you putting a chip down there? It's not worth it, you know. So I always had her in me, but I was raised more by savers. And okay, you know how they say like from 0 to 7 you're given like something like that defines kind of who you are for the rest of your life a little bit.
Maybe I'm curious. Give me your example, and maybe it'll make sense.
So, I mean, this is kind of just my story. So I heard that, but it kind of makes sense in that my mom was, the main influence in my life from 0 to 7 for the most part. Her and my aunt. Um, my mom was an empath by all meanings of the word. Um, my aunt is more like she's like a female version of my dad,
Mm,
but she's also like she's a woman, so she's a little more compassionate. But she's like a hustler, right? So it was like those two, and then mom out of the picture, dad comes more into the picture. I give him credit, and I will to the day I die, because he learned how to be the parts of her that I needed,
mm,
which is the most manly thing I could possibly think of doing. You
absolutely.
know, um, that's why I am who I am. But long story short, those first 7 years, I was given the empath, beat into me, and then the rest of it was save and hustle. So it's like I always had that in me, but then what was layered on top and on top and on top was more human. You know what I mean?
Hmm. That's super
So I
crazy.
think I know that played to my benefit, because I was way more cynical when I was younger, because I was all, which is weird. but like I was already, nobody deserved my time. I'm not letting anybody in. Nobody deserves anything from me. No
Mm,
love. I don't have any love to give. You're not getting it. Don't give me any. I'm good. You know what I mean? And I think what changed is me kind of figuring out who I am. Definitely, that's what changed. I figured out who I was or who I am, and the like started piecing this shit together. Just kind of being honest with myself. Um, and I broke out of that phase of feeling like I didn't need anybody or any love or anything from anybody. I still don't necessarily or wouldn't necessarily say I need anything, but it's not wrong to want love, you know?
yeah. Well, we're social creatures. We need people in our lives, regardless of the capacity that you need for that. But the human experience is so essential, and I learned that a lot during the pandemic because of how isolated we were forced to be. And I was always a homebody, but when you're forced to be a homebody and then you're taught to pretty much judge the other people as like the threat, you were programmed to look at other people as threats because they
Like a
could be
war
carrying
mindset.
some sort of war mindset. People could be carrying some sort of virus, you know.
Right, right.
So I, like everybody else, was isolated, and it took a toll. And I started to, when we could start engaging with people again, I started to really appreciate the time spent with people
Mm,
again. And I think that just speaks to the need for it. And that, so it makes sense that when you're open, and that's kind of like the line to walk, how open you are versus like how much you let people in, and also understanding that you need people in your life,
yeah.
and that delicate dance of your time and all that. Because I don't think that when you're spending time with people and you're not necessarily doing stuff, so in other words, if you're hanging out with somebody and you're not actually doing anything but you're hanging out with them, that's still doing something. Like a that's an activity, and that's fulfilling you mentally, emotionally, physically, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
So having that
You
is,
just have to pick the right people to do that with, though.
see,
Because
that's the
then,
hard part though. That's that. Tell me how you do that.
'cause then you're going to convince like everybody who just goes to the block and smokes with the homies that they're being productive. No, relax, you know.
That was me though
But
at my friends. I
yeah,
was
bro,
so
you do
excited.
that with everybody. Fucking millionaires do that shit. Like, why you think rappers still go back to the hood? Like, it's that comfortability.
Hmm.
Moneybag Yo, he is damn near worth more than $50 million. He should not be in the trenches sipping lean. He's tripping, but that's what he came
Hmm.
out of. That's what he knows. That's where he feels at home. So he's gonna go do it. You know what I mean? But it's not like bro, you the wrong police officer pulls up on him. He's on parole. There's a guy with a gun. You're in jail. Like it's that easy. You know what I mean? 50 million gone down the drain. No bail.
Yeah, I mean
But
that's a little bit more obvious, but how do you find the, and I understand who you're, so explain what you mean by the comfortable aspect. So what does comfortability
so
with people go
you know
back?
how you were talking about when you've built your kind of like your infrastructure, you're cool with just operating within it. You're not trying to hit that resistance.
Yeah.
It is the resistance. That's like what that's like those people, the ones who are making you stagnant, are that resistance layer,
Yeah.
part of it.
So okay, so take it a step further. So let's say you hit that resistance, you get rid of those people. Now you have nobody.
Right.
You got just yourself. It's just you. Now what? And now you want people again. So you're trying to rebuild those people.
I mean, okay, this is the hard one. Why are those your people?
What do you mean?
Is
Why
that
why
you?
are people my people in general?
No, no, no. Like, okay, you would say that by spending time with them, by offering them whatever you offer them, you're like giving love to them, right?
Well, yeah, but I also understand what you're saying in regards to those people being the people that are bringing you down, because I just got rid of those people, but
Okay.
there hasn't been a replacement. So in other words, like I don't have people that I just call up, be like, "Yo, what's up, dude?" I mean, you and I chat and stuff like this, so it's not the same in regards to like having someone down the street or having someone that I grew up with or any of that. All the people I grew up with, gone. Not gone, actually gone, but out of my life that we don't talk. It's basically like watching each other on Facebook grow up.
I wouldn't. Okay. Okay.
It also could be that I'm 32, and as you get older, your circle gets a lot smaller. Because I've had this conversation with my mom,
Yeah.
and she has shared the same struggle, and I'm curious to see kind of how this pans out in my life because as you get
Mm.
older, your circle gets smaller naturally because your friends have kids, your friends take on careers, they move away, they move out of the country, they get married and live their own life, and that's fine. Like that's
Like, the thing is, let me stop you. Like, you should, in my head, be one of those people.
be one of those people to who.
You are one of your friends, so it shouldn't be like they are all leaving.
Well, no, but I just
You
have to find people in my circle. But that's what I'm saying is finding those people in your circle that are going to be a benefit to you and reciprocate that love. I
right,
find now, and this could just be my personal experience, but it's harder and harder to find good people that are willing to challenge you, but also love you for who you are and also grow with you and grow separately from you and add to the ideas. This, and again, it could just be my experience. It could be what I have in my circle. It could be where I'm at in my life. But that to me is not something that I've found to be common in most people that I meet. Because most people, back to the original conversation, I find are really just trying to get by because life is so difficult as it is. So there's not a lot of time to take to do what you and I are doing.
right.
I'm in a unique situation. I understand that because A, I don't have kids, and B, I have a time and I work from home and it's the lifestyle that I built. But a lot of people don't build this lifestyle. They have a day job that they have to go to. They commute home, they eat dinner, they relax. And by the time it's 8 o'clock, 8, 9 o'clock, and they have to go to bed because they have to drive and commute to work in the morning and do it all again. And then their weekends are spent running errands and doing the lawn. So it's like, where are you going to find time to hang out with Rooks and like make
That's
beats?
impressive. But like, okay, would you consider? I think I know the answer, but would you consider what you're doing or what you just described to be sadder?
Sadder, like not fun, the
Right,
opposite of happy.
right.
To me, yeah, that would make me sad, but that doesn't mean it's a sad lifestyle. I think that lifestyle is somebody that is just an NPC, as we'll call them.
Okay. So to that point, right?
I'm looking for main characters, and I don't. They're hard to find because they're on their own quest.
This is what I'm. This is yeah. Um,
But where's the Justice League, man?
relax, relax. I got you.
I can't. I need it now.
Batman doesn't hang out with the Justice League.
He doesn't. But they get together for summits. I want to go to some summits every quarter. You know, get out.
So here's what I'm saying though. I wouldn't. If I was Batman,
Batman's
I
not a
would.
superhero. He's just a billionaire.
So you're Batman then.
Okay. I'll take it. That's fine. So I'm Batman. I'm associated with superheroes, but I'm not actually. That's
You're just a billionaire, man. Relax, okay. But look, I this is the same with any superhero, with any comic book character, with anybody. Okay, you are a main character in your life. You're not the NPC. You're not because the NPC is gonna hang out with the NPC. They have time for that, right? Because you got your neighbors. You also mow the lawn on Saturdays. You guys go out to brunch with your families, and cool. That's your thing, right? You I wouldn't be, and this is what has helped me because okay, so I went through this too because I mean I went through loss very young and had felt like I had nobody, so I was used to that from very young. But even when I latched on to somebody, like I had a friend that I became like my closest friend. This is back when I'm 14, 15, 16, when doing shit, but running around smoking weed, doing bullshit, and then he moves. He's from Italy. He leaves the country.
Hmm.
Right. At the time, I have a girlfriend. Right. Me and her latch together. Toxic relationship that ends. I'm 17. Now I have friends. I have people that I know, some of which are like stagnant, right? That are just kind of like you appreciate the moment with them, but they don't help you get anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Some that are getting their own place but are on their own path.
Mm-hmm.
Some that want to on your path. None that remind me of that relationship I had with the guy who left.
Hmm.
Here's why. I had more shit to worry about, more shit going on after he left. I grew up, right?
Hmm.
I didn't have the I like it wasn't in me to make the same type of relationship with anybody because it wouldn't have been healthy. If I'm 19, but I operate most of my life like a grown man. If I'm a grown man running around smoking weed, stealing from the mall every Saturday, and then going to community college through the week, making no money, and then working at McDonald's part time, like that's not grown man activity. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I can't associate myself with that if I want to do what I want to do with my life. I'll take it a step further. I consider myself, this is probably just the because I really have like unleashed a certain level of self esteem that I really like, but it sounds so cocky when I say it like this. But I really am a king in my own life, right?
As you should be,
A king
though. I
has
mean, that anybody who thinks that
everybody is everybody is, in my opinion. Everybody, well, most people,
well, I,
but
well, yeah. So yeah, get back to the superhero thing. Like that's there are superheroes, and you are a king. You are a superhero. You are that in your mind, but you are that in your
right,
life because you built that.
right. And there's also Alfred.
Alfred likes his job though. Let's not get it twisted.
Yeah, this is my point. Like people are. This is a whole other conversation. Instagram makes the Alfreds feel like they want to be Batman.
Oh my god! Wow, dude, I hate
But
Instagram.
we don't get any good Alfreds anymore because everybody wants to be Superman, Batman.
Oh
Like, but
shit.
that's not anyway. If when you understand that the direction you're going, I do it unintentionally. I build this life for myself unintentionally. What I've realized about it, a king has his kingdom. There are other kings out there, right? If I want to go kick it with another king, I'm leaving my kingdom.
Hmm.
I'm either going into his or we're both leaving and going to somebody else's. We're not staying true to our own. It's not the end of the world if, say, two kingdoms unite to battle this one or to do this one thing or to trade with one another, right? But if I feel like I need to have, like, no, there are no two kings. You can have a queen, but there are no, in whatever relationship that is in your life, but there's not going to be like king buddies hanging out together. Like they have responsibilities because they have kingdoms to worry about.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Who are you? Like really? Like we're like I tell my wife all the time. There's no way that you're the age that you say. There's no way. There's that the mindset and the perspective and the level of understanding you have for life is unmatched to anybody, even in my age range, much less your own. And age has nothing to do with it, but it's the only barometer I have because people love to equate
Yeah.
like age to experience, and that means that you're wise and all that other jazz, but you can be a super wise child or a super immature adult. But yeah, no, I the reason I say that is because you're right. You're absolutely right, and you were able to communicate that so well and so eloquently that I felt different about the way I felt different from that because of the way you said that. That's crazy, man. You actually were
That's
able to communicate that to a totally different degree. That's awesome. Good job.
thank you, bro. I'm glad.
That's
That's all.
that's a super cool analogy though, to really understand that it's okay and it makes sense to spend that time as kings, like you said, trading, doing that thing. But you have a kingdom to worry about, and that is your focus because that's what you have to do as a king. It's what comes with being a king. You don't get the riches of a kingdom with, and you don't get a kingdom if you're not willing to go through the things that a king has to go through. And it's not always, you know, balling out, eating lavish meals, and having fun with your queen. It's sometimes it's, you know, cleaning the castle or finding new ways to keep your kingdom alive or whatever it is.
Absolutely. Like, yeah, you hit it on the head. To me, there's also the whole. There's a lot of dynamics to be discussed there, but there's also something to be said for like you don't necessarily deserve. Um, I mean, people. Okay, this is a harder one to pinpoint, but I'd say you don't necessarily deserve the queen until you are a king.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you don't deserve it, but people will get the queen way
Yeah,
early.
yeah, and the king.
And the king, and the king. I think it's important in some relationships. I honestly, I'll say it for myself. I think that I so my wife was absolutely a queen before I was the king because she
Mm,
was able to make the decision to like be a king, be a kingdom before I was able to like snap out of it and be like, oh, okay, we're gonna build this thing. So
gosh.
it's but after, so it's interesting because I can remember the turning point, not to the day but to the time period. I remember
Mhm.
asking, I was like, so what was it? Because when we met, let me set this story for you real quick.
What? I'm ready. Wait, hold on. Before you start, we should set up music. So every time we tell a story, we just and then there's music like off a hotkey. You know what
So when we go into a story time, there's story time music.
I mean? Anyways, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I'm working on it. First is the placeholder now, and then I'll get a soundboard and I'll put it in my hotkeys. It'll be great. You're on to something. Anyway, um, so my wife, my wife, we go to the same school in South Florida, and I'm at the bar. It's the middle of the day, and I'm sitting there drinking beer, and she rolls up with her friend, and they order beverages, and then the bartender goes, "Would you like ice with that?" And I look at the beverage, and I'm like, "What the? You're putting ice in your beer? That's disgusting." Because they had
Mm-hmm.
bottles, and they were like, "No, it's cider," and I was like, "That's dumb."
Mm,
Whatever. And then anyway, so we started talking, found out we both like electronic music. So anyway, so we meet at a bar on campus. So already I was up to no good. Is what I'm getting at. And then
right.
the second time she meets me, she's like, "How was your night?" I was like, "Oh, not good. I just totaled my car." And
Oh, okay.
she was like, "Holy shit, what happened?" I was like, "Oh, I lost control after leaving a party." And yeah, and she was like, "Okay." And then the third time we met, she was like, "Hey, how you been?" I was like, "Well, I just got out of jail." She's like, "What the
What the fuck is this guy
what is
doing?
this kid doing?" And
What?
then so she shared this with me later. She was like, she
That's hilarious.
she said to her friend that had met we had met them together. She was like, "So why do you think he doesn't have any friends?" And her friend goes, "Are you serious? He just the first time we met, he had totaled his car, and the second time we met, he had just got out of jail. And then the first time we ever hung out, I got so drunk that I ended up passing out in the street. Not passing on the street. That's a bit exaggerated. I laid down in the street
Right.
outside of the bar, like
Right.
complete mess, absolute chaotic mess. So all that, she had to carry me up to my dorm in college, take my shoes
Hmm.
off, all that jazz. And mind you, we were just friends at the time.
Right.
And yeah, so and then so fast forward, we're together, and I remember going, so why did you like what? Why would you do that? Why would you put yourself through that? And she said, she was like, well, I saw potential, and I was like, damn, really?
That's oh my god.
Yeah. And I was
Oh my
like, yo,
god. Oh my god. Thank you, Jesus, for women like her.
for real. And after that I was like, okay, all right. Yeah, let's do it. And I mean, I really owned up to being the man of the relationship, and just stepped up and started to grit my teeth a little bit more, and yeah, live up to the potential that she saw, because that to me was what got like, lit a fire under my ass. I was like, okay, well, if somebody sees potential in me and is
Mm,
willing to stick by my side while I'm not exhibiting such potential, then
mm,
clearly we're gonna do some great things. There's a lot. I think that that's part of a good relationship. I think that there has to be that level of like seeing into somebody's potential,
yeah.
obviously without being too specific. Like you don't want to specify like, oh, this person's going to be a really good XYZ, but I mean in terms of, and not just wanting it for them, because oftentimes it's really easy to want something more for people than they want for themselves. I found that a lot in my experience.
Right.
But just seeing someone's potential and just knowing that it's misplaced. And that's really where it was. I was really good at getting into trouble because I was just really good at everything I did. So I just got really good at partying, and like really good at driving fast, and like really
Right.
good at getting in trouble. So that I just needed to get really good at making music, really good at being an educator, really good at making friends, really good at being a husband, that kind of thing. You know?
Mm,
So
mm,
that is where potential lies, but I think that when somebody is not applying themselves, kind of back to what we were talking about, like I was applying myself to be the best person I could be, but in the wrong arena. And I think that
yeah.
that's the difference between seeing potential in somebody and wanting someone to have potential, because I feel like there's been situations where I've wanted people to have potential, and I saw it, but it was a mirage. I didn't actually see the potential. It was me instilling my belief as their potential, and that really caused a lot of resentment, because they didn't really have that potential that I saw, because it wasn't it was me wanting them to be better for, I guess, selfish reasons. I don't know.
Did you find that when you started living up to your potential, you were able to help your wife do the same in her own way?
Yes.
Match made in heaven.
I honestly, it really is. It sounds so cheesy, but I really do consider myself like, look.
I, I'm with you. I'm in the same. I'm not. I don't have a wife. I'm in the same shoes. I hear you. I'm not even going to speak on it. I've told you enough about me. I hear you. I agree
Yeah,
with you. I
it's
love it.
honestly, it's crazy, but and that's what makes me so confident in other things, in other relationships, because of my at home relationship. And that's why when people are acting out and people are hurt and hurting other people, because hurt people, bless people, it makes sense to be curious about like what's your home life like, because it really does go back to your home life and your environment and all that other stuff. But all that, I say all that to say this, it just makes sense to be intentional with your love and your energy and time, but also
Hmm.
remain compassionate and allow people to be themselves, and give both yourself and others grace, because the world is a tough place to live. It's very hard, and as long as you're giving it 100%, that's really all we can do. But that's the separator between the kings and the queens, the superheroes
Mm,
and the NPCs, and the Alfreds and the Batmans. It's the difference of applying yourself intentionally and growing from it.
right. Right.
But yeah, you want to play this? You want me to play this new music video of yours?
Yeah. I had thoughts on compassion and things. I'll speak on that in a minute.
Well, if you have thoughts, give me your thoughts. I just wanted to bring it up before I forgot. It's
I
up now.
mean,
Finish your
uh,
thought. No, we got time. Go ahead.
I noticed with the relationship I was in prior to the one I'm in now that she absolutely helped me discover my potential
Hmm.
in the way that your wife helped you discover yours. I don't think I was as reckless in the moment as you were, which is fine. But she helped me reach a point that I needed to be in. And then when I was able to begin applying it for myself and then doing it and then reverse regurgitating back to her, she wasn't able to do it
Hmm.
because she didn't really know who she was as a person.
Hmm.
And that also, as far as compassion goes, I realized made it harder for me to give her compassion because she never tried to be a person. She only tried to be the textbook,
Hmm. So you
you
grew
know?
apart. I mean, it makes sense though.
Yeah. So that like led to where we are now, which is not together, but like I found myself so I definitely wanted to help her grow. Like that was I wanted to try and do it because that's what you're in a relation. It's part of a relationship.
Right.
But I found my way of doing it naturally was with her. Like there was hardly any compassion. It was almost like a is even less than I have of friends. Because it was like, okay, if you want to be a textbook, bitch, do what's right. Stop playing. Like you know what's right. Why are you even act like if you're perfect and you know what's right, then stop having all this controversy. You're right. You know what's because that's how you act with me. You know what I mean? So like, but she would always tell me like I make her insecure. Not about her looks or anything. Like in a I'm not doing good enough in a I need to improve type of way. And I was like,
It's an interesting way to look at it.
like I know I tend to make my female partners insecure, not because I tell them they look bad, just because I tend to like expect a lot. You know, she was portraying she was ready for that.
Hmm.
She wasn't ready for that. You know what I mean? My auntie said it best. She know what she signed up for. I said I, but
But it makes
it
sense
was.
though. But people are.
And then I go find, at the time I wasn't being all knowing to her. I wasn't being monogamous, and I went and I found this other person that I'm currently with, and I was naturally more compassionate to
Hmm.
that person, and still am. Now that I'm in a monogamous relationship for the time being with this person, and I can talk. That's another conversation as to how she convinced me to do that. But um, simply because she's tried and failed and tried again and been resilient and came back and did the right thing after multiple failures and lived a life of trying and getting hurt and bouncing back as opposed to saying I'm perfect, I've never tried, but I'm going to stay perfect.
It's hard to trust people that have never that hurt themselves and gone through it. I think that that's a big thing when it comes to the person that you want to spend time with and grow with, because if they're unwilling to go through the same types of challenges that you're going through, at least in their own
Mm-hmm.
way, it doesn't have to be the same challenge because you're different people, but in terms of the level of challenges, you don't want to outpace each other. You want to
Right.
you want to pass each other for sure. It should be like this. There should be
Right, 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 right.
constant battle, but in a competitive fun way, whereas it's you're both going towards the same goal. And there are times where one person is achieving, we'll say, more in that arena or at that time. But that's why it's important, because you have to lift each other up and
Right.
continue to push each other in both the competitive way and in the emotional support way, because it can I in relationships that are successful, there will be times where one person is down, and it's essentially, in my opinion, the responsibility of the not down person to be the support at that time.
Mm-hmm.
as long as it's not one-sided, because when it becomes one-sided and that
Right.
person is just the rock for that person to lean on constantly, and it just becomes a one-sided, like, oh, hold me. It's like, I don't want to hold you anymore, I want you to hold me. Let me be the
It's
spoon, damn it.
like
Every man wants to be the little spoon. Don't lie to me.
every once in a while. But no, like lady number one, I'll call her, knew how to give love because she read it in a textbook, but didn't know how to take it because the one she was getting didn't come from a textbook.
Interesting. Well, that's why she served her purpose.
Yeah, totally. And I will always love and appreciate her for that because I'm a different man because of it. Lady number two, you're entirely right. It's harder to trust somebody who has lived a life because they've been hurt more. So they have more liability. But
They understand what's
it's
at stake, and they've lost, so they.
100%. So they have a harder time trusting, so it's harder to trust them. And here's the thing, like when I was with, I'm just gonna go lady number one, lady number two, to make this easy. When I was with lady number one, I asked God straight up, and I don't do that a lot. Said, God, can I have somebody real, please? I got it, and everything that comes with it.
Yep. Yep.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly what
But
you're talking about.
I had it took a me, but me and this person are. It's crazy because it's so quick, but we're like this because it's we understand each other, respect each other, love each other, and just know that this is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And we both kind of came. We're different ages, but we both kind of came to loving each other or loving ourselves around the same time ago.
Mm,
We've been doing. That's why it's such a perfect match because we've been doing it about the same length of time.
that is
Because
a
we've
good
both
match.
been hurt and we've both been through the ringer in our own separate ways. But in the sense of like we are both like if I never asked about her past and we never talked about each other's pasts, right? But only went forward from where we are now. One, we wouldn't know enough, so it'd be scary. But
Mm-hmm.
if we never did that, we would be like if God never put fear as a thing, if fear didn't exist, we would be incredible. We'd be perfect because we both started loving each other, loving ourselves at the same time, improving upon ourselves at the same time, moving in the right direction in life around the same time. Prior to that, we were both on bullshit to various degrees, right? So that's why learning about that makes it difficult, but it makes it more real because you
Mm,
know how hard this person is working to be how good they are right now. So you give them compassion.
I like that. That's important to note because that allows you to be stronger, but also understand why your relationship is strong, and you can use that to continue to develop a stronger bond and remind yourself at times when you don't want to be compassionate, because it will come if it
Mhm.
hasn't already. That's why you are compassionate, is because that person is that person to you at this point in your life, and it's not, well, this person is my person forever, whatever. That's a different story. But in terms of understanding, it's times like this where I bring up like my wife, and when talking about significant others, that it's important to bring that forward. Like, not just
Right.
talk about it now, but also in the times where it's really difficult. It's really easy when things are going great to be like, I love my person. And then when shit hits the fan and they're doing all the things to step on your nerves, not intentionally, mind you, not
Mhm.
intentionally, but just you're in a mood and they're doing all the things that piss you off, because the things that were once green flags are now red flags, and whatever whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it, the things that you used to love, or you're like, oh man, I love the way you smile, and now you're like, God, close your mouth. Like, just a random example. My wife has a
I
really
get
beautiful
it.
smile, but anyway.
It's
um,
funny though, I fully get what you're saying because one of these. Oop, shit. I had one of these moments Um, not about like a, because me and her are really. I'm okay. I don't do arguments. I don't do
I
that.
don't do arguments. Well,
But I
lucky
think
you.
what I what
I'm
what
not
I
gonna. I'm
do.
not having this conversation. I'm just gonna disagree with you.
No, no, no. I will. We will talk. But if it becomes a emotional to the point where a logical understanding can't be came to, then I don't think we love each other enough.
Why? Why? What's love got to do with it?
Because like you have love is part of that is respect of the other person.
Yeah.
You know, and I think if you are both sides, like if I can't,
Well, okay, so you're not being loving. It's not that you don't love them enough. It's that you're not being loving enough
but
because your
like,
love doesn't change by your mood.
right, you're not showing it how you should. So like, I'll forgive you if you feel inclined to argue. Like I'm not tripping, but if that is who you are, if like you can't get over yourself and you just need to make a problem, I'm not gonna do it. So part of why I respect this person I'm currently with, this lady number two, is because she is like me in that sense. She will have a way she feels, talk about the way she feels, let me speak, and we both love each other, love ourselves enough to know, like we love each other a lot, but we love ourselves enough to know if this is something the other one cannot deal with, we going this way, you know.
And that's
And we're
that's fair.
we're willing to fight for what we got to fight for, but if there's like you know a discussion that can't be discussed, I guess the best way, then I don't think those two people should be together. And one of those things I had recently was like we were talking about past happenings, and I learned something that's not fun to hear because grown women say things that aren't fun to hear about their past, and it made me innately want to be less compassionate because I was like, why would you do that to yourself?
Yeah.
You Um, After sitting on it, I came back around to what I knew was the truth and what I was able to remind myself I should be feeling and end up feeling in that we all fucked up in our own ways. I can't fuck up in the same ways a woman would, and she can't fuck up in the same ways a man would. But we all fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
She's doing a lot better now. And on top of that, she's only been doing as good as long as I've been doing this good. So I can't expect her to have been doing good longer than me.
Look
You know what I'm saying?
at that.
That'd be unreasonable of me. So that's what I came to. That was like that's how I feel about most things, especially expectations and things about the past, but period as far as disagreements. Like we have differing points of views, but we don't let the differing points of views come to light in a screaming match or in a
I call those
uh,
debates. I often will debate.
debates, not arguments. That's what I
Yeah,
think.
I love to debate, and I often do it for mental stimulation. Unfortunately, because someone who's extremely ADD will actually, I found this out, will actually pick fights because they're bored.
Oh God.
Yeah, I don't do it as much anymore because I'm treated. But man, it made a lot of sense to why I was so antagonistic as a kid. I would just be like, "Oh, let's fight" for no reason. It's because my brain was bored and needed something to stimulate it, and now I have
I
stimulation.
guess that's like damn.
Well, so okay. The weird thing about ADD brains is like novelty and risk are super. That's what
Now meaning
so new or nostalgic or something like something that doesn't necessarily serve a purpose but is super like shiny object basically, whether it be a
okay.
person, a thing, a substance, like these things, all the things that people indulge in
Uh-huh.
are not necessarily novelties, but that's kind of what I was using the word for. But basically anything that is fun and exciting. That's what the brain is looking for, because it's the whole thing about ADD is there's lack of dopamine, which is the chemical that keeps you focused and on task.
Mm-hmm.
So all that jazz. So without a constant supply of it, you'll do things to spike your dopamine, literally just chasing dopamine all day without having medication. So whether it be like drugs, alcohol, all that stuff, or even just risk, like taking risky bets, being a gambling addict, or
Right.
just doing so. It's all about the pleasure system and just like hitting that. So um,
Do you find like how put this? I mean, everybody needs dopamine, right? So there's like
yeah,
it's not
but
wrong.
you're so. But the difference in between a neurotypical and a neurodivergent is the neurotypical is going to be able to stay on task, and they're not going to like it, but they're able to stay on task. Whereas for me, my brain will literally force itself off of what I'm doing if I don't have some sort of gamification or there has to be external stimulation in order for me to get stuff done. That's why I have a TV on. That's why I listen to music while I work. That's why I have screens up and I'm doing all this stuff. It's because it's it's mental chewing gum so that I can focus. Otherwise, my brain's like, "Hey, hey, 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 hey." And I'm like, "What? What?" And it's really crazy, but once you learn to control it, that and that's where I'm able to focus. But I don't, how did that start? I had a point to all that, but you were
Oh,
talking.
to the fighting as a kid to the
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Anyway, um, yeah, but why was I talking about fighting as a kid? I forgot. Oh well.
debates being mentally stimulating,
There
picking
we
arguments.
go. Good job. See, that's what you're here for. Keep me on track. No, I'm kidding. The so for me the debate I honestly enjoy debates because I think that it's healthy if you can do it without attacking the person
Hmm.
and I love this analogy and then I'm done because my brain's starting to shut off. Um,
Okay.
the analogy of when you have a problem, look at problems like sticky notes. In other words, stop putting the problem on the person that you're talking with, but look at the problem together. Like hold it out and stop like take it off of the person because the problem is not the person, the problem is the problem, and
Mm-hmm.
most people stick the problem to the person. So if the problem is that you feel the problem is not that your significant other doesn't love you, the problem is that you didn't communicate your needs for them to be like to touch you more, for example, like for them to hold your hand more or whatever. It's hmm, how can I say that? It's attacking the problem and not, yeah, like I said, it's attacking the problem, not the person. It's very easy to stick the problem to the person and make it their, like attach it to them. But
Mm-hmm.
when you're able to separate the problem from the person and go after that together, that's where the healthy debate comes in. And it's okay to have difference of opinions as long as there's still respect and there's a resolution that can result with a compromise, I guess. So
Yeah,
like, yeah,
absolutely, absolutely, uh, absolutely, bro. I'll finish it with this since your brain's shutting off, but I like where you're headed. Um, the whole I'll make this short and sweet. Um, I've been with great partners before, but I this would be what I considered like in all meanings, in all essences of the word, the first real woman I've decided to be in a relationship with. Um, Part of that comes with having respect enough to listen to opinions, digest them, talk about them, and compromise to them if I think they're right. That is where the um, that's where the kind of incentive for monogamy came from. There's various reasons there, but I never did that before because nobody could convince me otherwise.
hmm.
She essentially gave me this dynamic, which made so much sense to me. Um, If I'm gonna spread my love in that sense, because even my time is love. So if I'm not loving hoes per se, I'm spending time away from her, which is given. You know what I mean? I need to be able to afford it monetarily.
Yeah.
If that's something I really want, I need to be able to afford it. I've never been able to afford it monetarily before. I've been able to afford it because I was so much farther ahead of the person I was with.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Because I had all like my time is so much more valuable that I just could do that. It's not really the same here, but I respect that more.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Um, I don't. She's self-aware. I'm self-aware. So that creates somebody independent. That creates somebody in her who, if she's getting everything she needs, she's not going to be upset if somebody else is also getting something, as long as she's getting everything she needs. Right
Mm-hmm.
now, me giving her everything she needs isn't taking away from what I need, but I could not afford with time nor money to give her everything she needs and somebody else even a little bit. You know,
Back to the kingdom thing. I mean, with that, and
I need to grow my kingdom if I want to have more members in that motherfucker. That's how I feel about it.
so circling back to what I was saying about the finding the group, the people, all that, and then we talked about the kingdoms. I hmm.
I have to go in probably 8 minutes.
All right, so I'll end it there because
No, I want to hear what you do.
I honestly I forgot, and then I was trying to remember, but I would rather play your video.
All right, fuck it. Go ahead.
Oh, but it's just important to remember that that's what it's about, and like having when you're building a kingdom, you don't have time to be like playing around and like investing in all this other random BS. Like you got to get serious sometime. And I like that you brought up the fact that you finally met someone who is able to kind of change your perspective, because that is so huge, not only as a person but as a person in a relation, being in a relationship with that person, because you're able to really start to grow each other because you can appreciate the other person's perspective
Mm-hmm.
and not necessarily agree with it. So like
Mm-hmm.
my wife, for example, she's the compassionate, like loving one, and I'm instant like we're gonna wreck this person's life, and she's like wait, let's try this, and I'm like I don't agree with that at all. I'm gonna wreck this person. She's like no, wait, we're gonna do it a little bit differently.
Right, you just hate it, but you know she's right.
I'm like, man,
You,
I don't agree with this, but I know it's gonna be a better outcome than
right.
my choice will get it done, but there's going to be some blood, and I metaphorically or physically, I don't know. But with her solution, it's often going to be a peaceful and calm resolution, and no one gets hurt. Like
Mm.
perfect example, and then I'll play the video. We
Mm-hmm.
were out at brunch, and I was going to like leave, and I saw that there's a meter maid writing a ticket, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Yo, it says that I can park here," and I started arguing with the meter maid. They hadn't written the ticket yet, but they were inputting my information. My wife taps me on the shoulder and grabs my keys out of my pocket while I'm arguing with this person. And she literally runs to the car, starts the car, and goes, "Corbin, get in." And I run, get in the car, and we leave. Meanwhile, the other person that was getting a ticket did what I wanted to do and argued instead of just getting in the car and leaving. So she had time
Right.
to write him a ticket. So there's your difference. Like I probably would have gotten the ticket in that example, and I would have just been mad. But because she was like,
You
"Don't fight,"
found the one. I'm telling you, you know.
oh, I already
But
know.
congratulations.
I
Congratulations.
thank you. I won. If anybody asks, I won.
Yes, Corbin.
I don't, but for real though, that's what gives me the confidence to be the person that I am, because I have somebody in my corner that truly gets me and makes me a better person. And that's what's important, is to have people in your corner, whether it be a partner, a friend, a family member, somebody that can make you a better person, because we can't do it alone. Not the whole way.
Agree.
So you sent me two videos, or is it the same one?
This is the first link, I deleted the first link, uploaded the second link.
Got it. So I'm gonna play a second link. Let me pull it open. Let me make sure the sound is on.
Free promo, free promo, free promo, free promo.
Oh no, not free promo.
You guys who help me with everything, not free promo.
Not that. All right, I'm gonna. I think I have to mute you, but maybe not. Let's find out.
It's a slow start. Give it a chance.
I'm in it, man.
Turn that shit up, DiCaprio. No more losses. Play my role too well, I don't want no role models. Lil' bro 18 now, still sip out a baby bottle. Way too honest, love her to death, but the bitch still think I'm cold-hearted. I got myself regardless, gotta make me a target. What wrong with this buzz? I ain't on my back.
A double feature.
Family told me I cannot relax. Family dying, I feel like I'm next. Family crying, I put their tears on my neck. Took that fear out my chest, closed my eyes, I see red. She too stuck to my bed, I'm too stuck in my head. Praying out a window, most of clips extendos, most my bitches 10 toes. God, I don't understand, why did you make fentanyl? They bury my bro next to Mike, so I'm moonwalking. If I die right now, my bitch might die with me, so I'ma need 2 coffins. Get bands to patch my soul up, collect calling, I'm catching them bro up. Used to trap at the parks like Rosa. Mama caught me tryna throw my heart away, cause I feel die about it, but I won't go die about it. So please don't cry about it, but I just can't lie about it to you. No more losses. Play my role too well, I don't want no role models. Lil' bro 18 now, still sip out a baby bottle. Way too honest, love her to death, but the bitch still think I'm cold-hearted. I got myself regardless, gotta make me a target. What wrong with this buzz? I ain't on my back.
That's that.
Man, I can see why you said this your favorite video to date, man. This is next level, and this is still the same production company. That's so nuts.
All that changed was there's 2 guys. The other one directed it. The other guy has a more film based mind, if you know what I mean. Like he's a little older. He has a longer background in film. The other guy is like good with the tech. He knows how to do his job, but I think he has the vision is just different. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I have so many things to say about it, but I'll just say that it's definitely this. I'm gonna be upset if this doesn't hit like 100K plays, like
Man.
for real. Like this, it's criminal if we don't hit 100K on this thing, and like
I'll put it like this: my views are criminal right now. I'm working on it.
that. I didn't want to say that, but I was thinking it. I like the fact that you don't have in the literally the tens of thousands of followers, well, not even followers, forget the followers, the listeners. This is what blows my mind, is that there's some haphazard, half-assing, just fell their way into a career rappers.
Oh yeah.
That don't do anything. And yet we have people like you who are doing literally all of it. And people are like, It's like, what?
Yeah.
What do you want? What more?
I'll tell you what they want. Click that video right there.
What? This one? The I don't cheat?
Yep. This is closer to what people are looking for.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying.
Of all the videos I put out thus
Closest
far,
thing I hit the rock bottom was bikini
I
bottom.
got the most responses to this one. One background did nothing but run around and throw chairs. Changed 2 fits. Brought a ladder in that bitch. People love it. Make a movie. People couldn't care less. But hey, I just posted it. I haven't promoted it yet. We're gonna see what happens. I'm optimistic.
I'm beyond optimistic. I'm gonna make it my personal mission. Like, even if you weren't my homie, like this, that track, it made me feel something.
Thank you, bro.
For real. Like it's
Very much.
It's what I would say is the beginning of your masterpiece collection.
Ooh, that's a compliment right there.
I do believe that.
Thank you.
Some of your catalog is better than others, but I truly believe that this one, because of not only the cinematography, but the message, the beat, and just the overall package you did for that project, we'll call it, is top tier. And I honestly think that it's what people are always so slow to come around to the things that they end up loving. And I
You're
think
right.
that's where most people end up fizzling out, is they aren't patient enough and they don't have that confidence in themselves to be able to push and keep going when no one cares.
I will be doing this shit until the day I die. I don't care what else I'm doing.
Exactly. And that's why you'll make it, because it's literally, like I was saying, it's only a matter of time, because 10% will actually do it and 1% will continue to do it over a consistent period of time. That's you. There's nothing more but time. It's not if, it's when. So let's make it happen, my friend.
Thank you, bro.
Till next time, y'all. Take it easy.